Hey there, it's Troy. Welcome to another video. So I'm here in beautiful sunny Berlin recording this for you, and what I want to talk about today is a subject that I've been talking about a little bit on and off in content over the last week or so, and it really comes down to this: how much money do you actually need? And the reason that I'm talking about this subject is because we've seen a rise recently in the sort of men's online space, or whatever you want to call it, in so-called success porn or success gurus. And this is basically, guys who are flexing on Instagram, on Twitter, on YouTube, or whatever social network it might be, with pictures of their big cars, with pictures of their expensive jewelry, expensive socializing, going to clubs, popping bottles, all of that kind of stuff, all that kind of bling type stuff. And look, let me say off the bat, I mean, all that stuff is great fun. And, if you achieve that stuff and that makes you happy, then that's absolutely fine. I'm happy for you. I don't have a word to say against it, except that, is that what you actually want, and is that what you actually need? And, in many cases, I think perhaps not, because actually, how much money do you really need to have an amazing life? And it's less, I believe, than you think. Now, a few years ago, there was the emergence of something called digital nomadism. So digital nomads who were, basically taking their laptops, starting a business, and then going to live maybe somewhere else, maybe somewhere a little bit cheaper. Particularly if you come from somewhere like London, like I do, or Manhattan, or, some expensive kind of city somewhere. You could go to live somewhere more cheaply, like China, for example. I think the guy from Bold and Determined, Victor Pride, lived in China for a while when he started his blog. There's Thailand, very popular. There's Eastern Europe. There is Berlin, where we are now, which, although it's getting more expensive, is still comparatively cheap compared with London, certainly. But there are cheaper places than this. There's Poland, there is Belgrade, there is Budapest, and then there are countries, Latin American countries and so on and so forth. So there's plenty of places where you can go and you can just spend less money while you make money, and you can have a much better standard of living. Now, bizarrely, that's sort of almost getting a little bit sort of sneered at now. We see on Twitter, guys who are like, oh my God. I said this on the podcast, so apologies. If you saw my podcast earlier this week, apologies for repeating it, but you get guys that, oh my God, he's like living in a third world country. Like, oh, he couldn't hack it in Manhattan. He's not balling it. What a failure. Well, I'm sorry, but I disagree with that. I don't think that's the right way to look at it. Because here's the thing, right? You've got success gurus all the time. They're bombarding us with this stuff. You've got to be making 80 grand a month or you're a failure. You've got to have a Lambo or you're a failure. All of this kind of thing. And for a start, how many of those students are actually going to achieve that? Now, hopefully, many of them. I don't want to see anybody fail in their endeavors. I want to see people succeed. And if that's what you want to do, and you set out to do it, and you work hard, and you achieve it, then that's great. I'm happy for you. But realistically, making huge sums of money is not that easy, because otherwise everybody would be doing it. But here's the important thing. Is that what you actually want anyway? So, for example, say that you are a great flute player. You played the flute all your life. That's your passion. That's the only thing that you ever wanted to do, to play the flute. Would you rather jack that in and work 18 hours a day on your dropshipping business so that you can have 60k months and play the flute, maybe a few minutes a week when you get a chance, but you are balling it and you've got a shitload of money? Or would you rather reorganize your life so you can spend the majority of your time playing the flute and you make less money, but you have a really great, fulfilling life? I think for myself, I would rather have the latter. And I mean, as I've said before, for me, my passion has always been writing. You can make a lot of money through writing, but not necessarily. It's not a sort of a pathway to riches anymore, if it ever was for most people. There are certainly things you can do to make a lot more money, but for me, I would rather concentrate my time on doing the thing that I love to do, make less money, but yeah, have a more satisfying life. So you really need to think about it carefully and think, what are you willing to compromise? What are you willing to sacrifice? And is the money really worth it? Because in the end, is it money that you really want, or is it freedom? Is it the freedom to do what you want? It's probably, I mean, it's going to be different for everyone. It's going to be different for everyone, right? But it's probably the freedom that you really want. And if you could achieve the freedom, but with less money, then you need to have a think about that, and you need to think, okay, well, you know, so how do I work this equation? How do I work the mechanics of this? Is there a way that I can do what I actually want to do without sacrificing myself to, you know, the dollar, basically? Because people get out of their day jobs because they don't want to have a boss, they want to be independent, blah, blah, blah. And then they end up getting into online businesses where they are just crushing it and working, you know, these enormously long hours. In pursuit of financial reward that they think they have to get in order to be successful, that they think they have to get in order to impress other men online. And, you know, if you're doing anything to impress other people, then that's not really a good way to go, you know? That's not really, because you're seeking external validation. And, you know, yes, some of the stuff you can get with money is fun, it's great. But if you're doing it just to show off in front of others, then I would say that that's not really the best way to go. Now, people will watch this and they'll say, oh yes, but freedom can be purchased with money. And yes, that's true. That is absolutely true. So if you can find a way that you can make a shitload load of money, and then you're free and you've got time to do the stuff that you want to do, then yeah, sure, that's absolutely fine. I'm not knocking it. All I'm saying is just be very careful about what you're giving up in order to get that cash, because if you're giving up a lot of time and you are giving up a lot of your freedom in the process of making that money, then is what you're doing actually counteractive? Is what you're doing actually kind of going against you know, your stated ambition, which is to have more time for yourself and to be able to have a great life? So think about that. I want you to hit subscribe to the channel, hit notifications so you get a notification when I do a new video. You can get my pack of 10 amazing books about dating, games, sexual marketplaces called Renegade Dating Blueprint. $39, full value $250, so get on that now, hit below. And also sign up for my daily email list as well. Again, the link is below. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.